mind closing the door? These old places are so drafty. Good heavens, man!
Oh.
Come down!
Ah!
Come down, Mr. Fowl. I haven't hurt you. I was suddenly anxious. Oh, a man in your unfortunate position. Desperate measures, you know. No, don't get up. It's difficult for you without braces or a belt, I can see. And no tie, no shoelaces. Oh, I'm so glad they're looking after you. You must forgive me if I startled you just a little. It was when I saw you up by that window.
Epping Forest.
What was that?
Oh, I think I can see Epping Forest.
No doubt you can. Why, my poor chap, why should you want to?
Well, the home stretch.
Very well.
Well, I thought I could get a glimpse of Epping Forest between the chimneys, you know, and that shed.
No, get down. It's not wise to be up there forever looking out. There's a nasty, sneaping wind. Treacherous.
Treacherous?
No, I'm afraid so. You never know what a mean, sneaping wind can do. Catch you by the throat, start to sneeze, then a dry tickle on the chest. I don't want anything to catch you like that before.
For what?
You're much better sitting down here in the warm. Just sit down quietly, and I'll introduce myself.
Oh, I'm tired.
I'm Morgan Hall.
Morgan Hall?
Morgan Hall, the barrister.
The barrister?
Perfectly so.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Why?
Well, barrister, that's very bad.
I don't know why it's so bad.
Well, when a gentleman of your stamp goes wrong, it's a long fall.
What can you mean?
Well, it's not so bad for me. I only owned a small seed shop.
Seed shop? My poor fellow, we mustn't let this unfortunate little case confuse us. We're going to come to important decisions. Now, do me a favour, Mr. Fowl. No more seed shops.
Bird seed, of course. Yeah, individuals down my way get birds, mainly. Budgerigars and canaries. The budgies talked. A lot of lonely people down my way. They kept them for the talk.
Mr. Fowl, I'm a barrister.
Yeah, well, that's tragic.
I know the law.
It's trapped you.
I'm here to help you.
We'll help each other.
Mr. Fowl, I can see where you've been bewildered. You think I'm in trouble as well. Then I've got good news for you at last. I'm free. Oh, yes, I can leave here when I like.
Can you?
Yes, the police are my friends.
They are.
I've never felt better in my life. There now, that's relieved you, hasn't it? And I'm not in any trouble.
Family all well?
I never married.
Rent paid up?
A week or two owing, perhaps. Temporary lull in business. This case will end all that.
Which case?
Your case.
My
case.
Oh, it's not important.
Not important?
Well, I don't care about it, you know, to any real extent. Well, not as present advised.
Mr. Fowl, how could you say that?
The flavour's gone out of it.
But we're only at the beginning.
Oh, I can't be bothered with it.
Oh, can you be so busy?
Slopping in, slopping out. Trying to get a bit of a glimpse of the old forest. Yeah, fills in the day.
Mr. Fowl, you seem to have adopted an unpleasantly selfish attitude.
Selfish?
A dog in a manger.
Dog in them?
Unenthusiastic.
Now, you seem to be speaking very frankly, and I quite appreciate it.
Sorry, Mr. Fowl. You make me say it. There's so much of this about nowadays. There's so much ready-made entertainment, free billiards, national health, television. It's not the spirit abroad there used to be.
You feel that?
Whatever I've done, Mr. Fowl, I've always been mustard keen on my work. Despite all my disappointments, I've never lost the love of the job.
The position you've attained to.
The years of study I had to put in, it didn't just drop in my lap.
I've never studied.
Year after year, Fowl, my college window was alight until 2 a.m. There I sat among my books. I fed mainly on herrings.
Lean years.
And black tea. No subsidised biscuits then, Fowl. No county council tobacco. Just work.
Book work, almost entirely, I'd imagine. Oh, I'm only assuming, of course.
Want to hear some Latin?
Only if you've got time.
Actus non sit reus mensit rea. Filius nullius in flagrante delicto. Understand it?
I'm no scholar.
You most certainly are not. But I had to be. We all had to be in my day. And then we'd sit for examinations. Moths, smalls, greats, tripos, little goes. Rowing men fainting. Indian students vomiting with fear. And no creeping out for a look at the books under the pretext of a pump ship.
What?
A pea. Oh. Or getting a glimpse at the other fellow's celluloid cuff.
Oh, that would be most unheard of.
Then weeks, months of waiting. You go up to the Lake District, pace a mountain, play drafts, and then forget to huff. Oh, and then comes the fatal postcard.
What did it say?
Satisfied the examiners.
Oh, well done.
Oh, don't rejoice so soon, Fowl. True enough, I felt I'd turned a corner, got off a hood, bumped on the head with a Bible, told the only woman in my life that in 5 years' time, perhaps...
You'd arrived?
Well, that's what I thought when they painted my name up on the London Chambers. I sat down to fill in time till they brought me my first brief in a real case. I sat down to do the crossword puzzle. 5 years later, Fowl, what was I doing?
Oh, little charge of high treason.
I was still doing the crossword puzzle.
Oh, but better at it.
Not much. Not very much. As the years pass, there come to be clues you no longer understand.
So all that training.
Wasted. The talents rust.
And the lady?
Drove an ambulance in the 40s. A stray piece of shrapnel took her. I don't care to talk of it.
Tragic.
It was.
Oh, no, I mean, tragic. My wife was never called up.
Mr. Fowl, your poor wife.
Oh, well, let's not carry on about me.
But we must carry on about you. That's why I'm here.
You're here
To defend you.
Well, that can't be done.
Why ever not?
I know who killed her. Who? Me.
Mr. Fowl, I have all the respect in the world for your opinions. But let's face this, you're a man of very little education.
That's true.
One only has to glance at you to see that you're a man of limited intelligence.
Agreed, quite frankly.
You think you killed your wife.
Well, it seems so to me.
Mr. Fowl, look at yourself objectively on the matter of birdseed. Well, I have no doubt you may prove infallible, but on a vital point like this, might you not be mistaken? Don't answer that.
But why not?
Well, before you drop the bomb of a reply, consider who will be wounded. Are the innocent to suffer?
Oh, well, I only want to be honest.
But you're a criminal, Mr. Fowl. You've broken through the narrow fabric of honesty. You're free to be kind, human, to do good.
But what I did to her...
Oh, she's passed, you know, out of your life. You've set up new relationships. You've picked out me.
Picked out?
Selected.
I didn't know.
Oh, that's the whole beauty of it, Mr. Fowl. You didn't know me. You came to me under a system of chance, invented like the football pools, to even out the harsh inequalities of a world where you have to deserve success. You, Mr. Fowl, are my first doc brief.
Your first... what?
Doc brief.
Perhaps you can explain.
Oh, yes, of course. Now, criminals exist without friends and money. Luckily, one of them. They're free to choose any lawyer sitting in court to defend them. The lawyer, however old, gets a brief and is remunerated on a modest scale. Busy lawyers, wealthy lawyers, men with other interests creep out bent double when the dock brief is chosen. Oh, we regulars who are not busy stay on. I've been a regular for years. It's not etiquette, you see, even if you want the work, to wave at the prisoner. Or whistle. Or try to get his attention by hoisting any sort of little flag.
Oh, I didn't know.
But you can choose the most advantageous seat. The seat any criminal would naturally point at. It's the seat under the window. And for 10 years, my old friend Tuppy Morgan bagged it each day at 10. There he'd sit, reading Horace and writing to his innumerable aunts. And almost once a year, a criminal pointed him out. Oh, Mr. Fowle, Tuppy was a limpet in that seat. But something this morning, possibly a cold, perhaps death, kept him indoors, and I got his seat, and you spotted me, no doubt.
Spotted you?
My glasses polished, my profile drawn and learned in front of that great window.
I hadn't noticed.
But when they asked you to choose a lawyer?
Oh, well, I just closed my eyes and pointed, you know. I've picked out horses that way and football teams. Well, not that it's done me any good to any great extent.
So even you, Mr. Fowle, didn't choose me?
Not altogether.
The law's a haphazard business.
It does seem chancy.
Years of study and then to be picked out like a football pool.
Oh, don't say that, sir.
Oh, of course you've been fortunate.
Well, it's so unusual. Well, I'm not usually the one to draw the free bird at Christmas or, you know, guess the weight of the cake. And now I'm sorry I told you.
You wounded me temporarily, Mr. Fowle, I must confess. It might have been better to have kept me in ignorance, but it's done now. Let's get down to business. And Fowle?
Yes, sir?
Remember, you're dealing with a fellow man. Remember the hopes I've pinned on you, and try.
Try.
Try to spare me more pain.
Oh, of course I will. Of course I will, sir.
Right. Let's get our minds in order.
Sort things out.
Exactly. Now, this wife of yours,
Doris.
Doris, a bitter, unsympathetic woman.
Oh, no, she was quite cheerful. She loved jokes.
Fowle, to be very careful.
I will, sir. But, I mean, well, if you'd actually known Doris, oh, she used to laugh day and night. Oh, thank the Lord, she would say, for my old English sense of fun.
And what jokes, Fowle, did this Doris appreciate?
Oh, anything, really. Pictures in the paper. Jokes on the wireless. Laughs out of Christmas crackers. God, she would save them from Christmas to Christmas and then trot them out in August.
And you couldn't share them?
Well, not to that extent. I couldn't always get the funny point.
And then you'd quarrel?
Don't look so miserable. Might never happen. She'd say that every night to me when I came home. Where'd you get that miserable expression from?
I can see it now. There's a kind of Sunday evening appearance to you.
Well, I was quite happy, but it was always, tackle your tongue, where's the funeral? Play us a tune on that old fiddle face of yours. And then, oh, we'd have to have our tea with the wireless on so she can pick up all the phrases.
You're not a wireless lover?
Well, I couldn't always laugh, but she'd be doubled up across the table, gasping as if her lungs were full of water. Laugh, she'd say, what have you got to look so miserable for? And then she'd go under, bubbling like some sort of drowning woman.
Made meals difficult.
Indigestible. I mean, I would have laughed, but the jokes never tickled me.
They tickled her.
Anything did. Anything a little comic. Our names, for example.
Your names?
Fowl.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Walking up the aisle, she said to me, we're cock and hen now, aren't we, old bird? She laughed so hard they couldn't straighten up the photograph.
Fond of puns, I gather you're trying to say.
I had a little aviary down the bottom of the garden. And as she got funnier, so I spent more time with the birds. Budgerigars are like a little parrot. They've got little rings round their eyes, which give them a sad, tired look.
You found them sympathetic?
Restful. Well, that is until one of them spoke out at me.
Spoke? What? Words?
Don't look so miserable. Might never happen.
The bird said that.
Oh, well, she taught it to speak while I was out at work. It didn't mean to irritate.
Oh. Well, that was wrong of her, of course, to lead on your bird like that.
It wasn't him that brought me to it. That was Bateson, the lodger.
Another man?
Yeah, at long last.
Oh, I can see it now. A crime of passion. An unfaithful wife. In flagrante! Oh, you don't know what that means. Well, we'll reduce it to manslaughter right away. An unfaithful wife, a wronged husband. Oh, there's never a dry eye in the jury box. You came in and found them together.
Well, they were always laughing together.
Maddening.
He knew more jokes than she did.
Oh, stealing her before your eyes.
Well, that's what I thought. I mean, he was a big man, you know, ex-police. Yeah, he said he was the scream of the station. I picked him out for her especially. In the little chitty I put in the local sweet shop, it read, "Humorous type of lodger wanted."
Wasn't that a risk?
Well, slight perhaps, but it paid off all right. 2 days after he arrived, he poised a bag of flour over the kitchen door. Then she sewed up the legs on his pyjamas. They had to hold on to each other to stop themselves falling over laughing. Look at old Misery standing there. He can never get anything subtle.
Galling for you. Terribly galling.
Thought all was well. I'd come home late and I'd be careful to scrunch the gravel outside the front door. I'd go to bed early and leave them with the radio. On Sunday mornings, I'd go and feed the budgies, and I suggested that he take her tea in bed. Laughter, she read out from the horoscope, leads to love, even for those born under the sign of the Virgin.
You trusted them. They deceived you.
I trusted them all right. I trusted them to do the right thing, especially when I saw her sat on his knee and them both reading the cartoons out of one wrapping of chips.
Mr. Fowle, I'm not quite getting the drift of your evidence. My hope is your thought may not prove a shade too involved for our literal-minded judge. Old Tommy Banter was a rugger blue in '98. He never rose to chess, and his drafts had a brutal, unintelligent quality.
Well, first time I saw his knee under her, I thought he'd do the decent thing. I thought I'd have peace in my little house at last. The radio dead silent, no sound but the twittering from the end of the garden and the squeak of my own foot on the linoleum.
So you
I came in and heard them whispering together, and my hopes raised high. And then when I came back, he'd gone.
She
turned him out. Said he was getting over-familiar. I can't have that, she said. I may like my jokes, but at least I'm still respectable. Oh, no, thank you, she said. There's safety in marriage. She'd sent him away. My last hope.
So you...
Well, I realise I did wrong.
You could have left.
Well, then who'd have fed the birds? I thought was uppermost.
So it's not a crime of passion.
Well, not when you put it like that, no.
Mr. Fowle, I've worked and waited for you. And now you're the only case I've got, and the most difficult.
I'm sorry.
A man could snap his head on a case like yours and still be far from a solution. Well, can't you see how 12 honest hearts will break like steel when they learn you ended up your wife because she wouldn't leave you?
Well, if she had, there'd have been no need.
Well, there's no doubt about that. As I look at you now, I see you're an unsympathetic fellow.
Well, there it is.
It'll take a brilliant stroke to save you. Something pulled out of a hat. I've got exciting. A surprise witness.
A witness?
Picture the scene. Courtroom silent. The jury about to sink you. The prosecutor flushed with victory. And then I rise. My voice, a hoarse whisper, exhausted by the trial. Oh, my lord, if your lordship pleases.
What are you saying?
Well, come on, man. You don't expect me to do this off the cuff without any sort of rehearsal, do you?
Oh, no.
Well, come along, man. Sit down. Sit down. There we go.
Oh.
Towel over your head, please. Simulate the dirty grey wig. Oh, yes. Already you look anonymous and vaguely alarming. Now, forget your personality, Fowl. You're Sir Tommy Banter, living with a widowed sister in a drafty great morgue on Wimbledon Common. Digestion, bad. Politics, an independent, moral conservative. Diversions, snooker played in the basement of the great morgue, peeping at the lovers on the common, and money being given away on television. In love with capital punishment and corporal punishment, and a younger brother who's accomplished at embroidery. A small alarmed man, served with distinction in the Great War, at sentencing soldiers to long terms of imprisonment. A man with no friends, unexpectedly adored by a great niece, 3 years old.
I am.
Him.
Oh, seems so strange.
Oh, my lord, if your lordship pleases, I will bring forth the surprise witness.
Certainly.
What?
Oh, certainly.
Oh, good heavens, man. This is like practicing bullfights with a kitten. Here's an irregular application by the defence, something that may twist the trial in the prisoner's favour and prevent you catching your connection at Charing Cross. Your breakfast's like a lead weight on your stomach, the dog bit your ankle on the way downstairs. No! Blind yourself with rage and terrible justice.
No, you can't call the surprise witness.
That's better. Oh, my lord, if your lordship would listen to me.
No, you've had your chance. Let's get on with it.
My lord, justice must not only be done, but must clearly be seen to be done. No one as yet knows what my witness will say. Perhaps he will say that the prisoner is guilty in his black heart, as your lordship thinks. But perhaps, gentlemen of the jury, we have trapped an innocent. If so, shall we deny him the one door through which he may walk to freedom? The public outcry would never die down.
Hear, hear!
What was that?
That's the public outcry.
Oh, good, yes, very good. Now, towel back on, you're the judge.
Silence! If there's any more of these noisy people, I'll have them all put out. Oh, very well. You may call the surprise witness, but keep it short.
Deathly silence as the witness walks through the breathless crowds. Well, let's see the witness.
Oh, right, witness.
Take the towel off.
Oh. I swear to tell the truth.
Mr. Fowl, you have a real understanding for the law. Oh, it's a pity you came to it so late in life.
The whole truth.
What's your name?
Herbert Fowle.
The witness.
Oh, Martin Grimshaw.
Oh, good, yes, good, very good. And you knew Herbert Fowle?
All my life.
Always found him respectable.
Oh, he's a very quiet-spoken man and clean living.
Oh, and where was he when this crime took place?
He was...
Just a moment. My love, would you kindly take a pencil and note this down?
You dare to say that to him?
Fearlessness, Mr. Fowle. It's the first essential in an advocate. Is your lordship's pencil poised?
Yes, get on with it.
Where was he?
In me house.
The whole evening?
Oh, well, I went to pick him up and we left Mrs. Fowle at home safe and happy. And then when I came home, she'd been taken to County in General.
Panic stirs the prosecution benches. The prosecutor tries a few fumbling questions, but you stand your ground, don't you?
Certainly.
My lord, I demand the prisoner be released at once.
Quite right. I don't see what all the fuss was about. Release the prisoner and reduce all the police officers in the court to the rank of PC.
Fowle?
Yes, sir?
Aren't you going to thank me?
Well, I don't know what I should say.
Words don't come easy to you, do they?
Very hard.
Oh, well, you could just stand there and stammer in a touching sort of way and offer me that old gold watch of your father's.
But,
well, I've taken your chestnut out of the fire, haven't I? We'll just have to make sure of this fellow Grimshaw. But, oh, Mr. Fowle, you're a good chap, but don't interrupt my thinking.
well, I was just trying to remind you.
Well, what?
Well, there is no Grimshaw.
Carried off in a cold spell? Well, we can get his statement in under the Evidence Act.
No, he doesn't exist. We made him up.
Fowle?
Yes, sir?
It's a remarkable thing, but with no legal training, you've put your finger on a fatal weakness in our defence.
Fear it may be so.
It is so.
Well, I suppose we should just give in.
Give in? Oh, we do not give in. Not when my life depends on it.
Oh, I forgot. Then we must try.
Yes. Brain. Go to work. It'll come to me, you know, in an illuminating flash. Hard, relentless brain work. That's how I go at the crosswords. And I never give in. I've got it. Bateson.
Bateson the lodger?
Bateson the lodger. I never liked him. Under a ruthless cross-examination, you know, he might confess that it was he. Oh, do you see? A flash.
Well, you look much happier.
I am much happier. And when I begin my ruthless cross-examination...
Oh, would you like to try it?
Mr. Fowle, you and I are learning to muck in splendidly together over this. Bateson? Yes, sir. Kindly take your hands out of your pockets when you address this court. Not you, of course, Mr. Fowle.
No.
Now, you were on very friendly terms with the prisoner's wife.
Oh, well, I suppose we might have had one or two good laughs together.
And this association was entirely innocent.
Oh, innocent laughs, innocent jokes. You know, the Christmas card or cracker variety. Nothing would have shamed a postcard.
And to tell these jokes, did you have to sit very close to Mrs. Fowle?
How do you mean?
Did you sit beneath her?
I don't understand.
Oh, Or did she perch upon your knee?
Whoa!
What was that?
The shock breathing from the jury, sir.
Having its effect, eh? Bateson, would you kindly answer the question?
You're trying to trap me.
Not trying, Bateson. Succeeding!
Well, I suppose she might have perched upon my knee once or twice.
And you loved her guiltily.
I may have done.
And planned to take her away with you.
I did ask her.
And when she refused...
Oh, just a minute.
Where's all this leading?
Your lordship asks me. My lord, it is our case that it was this man, Bateson, enraged by the refusal of the prisoner's wife to go away with him, who struck. Do you see where we've got to?
I do.
Masterly, I think you'll have to agree with me.
Of course.
And no flaws in this one.
Oh, well, not a flaw so much, sir, but perhaps a little hitch.
A hitch. Go on, break it down.
Oh, no, sir. Not you've been so kind.
All my life, I've stood against the winds of criticism and neglect. I am used to hardships. Speak on, Mr. Fowle.
Well, after he'd left my house, he was stopped by an officer. Yeah, you see, he lifted an alarm clock and half a bottle of port from me. They booked him in straight away.
You mean there wasn't time?
Hardly. 2 hours later, the next door observed Mrs. Fowle at the washing. Then I came home.
Fowle, do you want to help me?
Of course I do, sir. Haven't I shown it?
Well, you will go on putting all these difficulties in my way.
I knew it'd upset you.
I'm not upset. Not really. At my age, one expects little gratitude. I'm not bitter, but a little help. Just a very little encouragement.
You'll win the case, sir. You know, a brilliant mind like yours.
Yes, thank God. It is brilliant.
And all that training.
Years of it. Hard training.
You'll solve it, sir.
Fowle, do you know what Tuppy Morgan said to me? After all, he sat here in court year in, year out, waiting for the dock brief to come himself. Wilfred, he's frequently told me, if they ever give you a brief, always attack the medical evidence. Remember that the jury is full of rheumatism and arthritis and shocking gastric troubles. They always like to see a medical man put through it. If they ever give you the brief, always attack the doctor.
You'd like to try it?
Shall we?
Oh, I did enjoy it.
Doctor, did you say the lady died of heart failure? No. Oh, come, doctor, don't fence with me. Her heart wasn't normal when you examined her, was it?
She was dead.
So it had stopped.
Yes.
So her heart had failed.
Well,
So she died of heart failure. And heart failure might have been brought on by a fit. Oh, I say a fit of laughter. And a curiously rich joke on the wireless.
woo!
Thank you, Fowle. It's kind of you. But I thought rather hollow. I don't believe my attack on the doctor was convincing.
Perhaps not, sir. But clever.
Too clever. No, we won't win this on science. Science, Fowle, must be thrown away. As I asked my questions, I saw I wasn't even convincing you of your own innocence. But you respond to emotion, Fowle, as I do to the magic of oratory, the wonderful power of words.
Oh, now you're talking.
Oh, and I shall talk.
I wish I could hear it. Words as grand as print.
A golden tongue, a voice, like a lyre to charm you out of hell.
What?
Oh, I was drawing on the riches of my classical education.
Oh.
It comforts me on buses or at surgeries. And in this prison cell. But I shall speak plainly to the jury, without classical allusions. I shall say...
Yes?
I shall say...
What?
I had it on the tip of my tongue.
Oh.
But I shan't disappoint you, Fowle. I shall speak for a day, perhaps 2 days, and when I'm finished...
Yes, the closing words.
Yes, the closing word.
To clinch the argument.
The final, irrefutable argument.
Yeah. Well, I wish I could hear it.
And you shall hear it in court. It will come out in court. And when I sink back into my seat, exhausted, and wipe the real tears off my glasses.
The judge is summing up.
What will Tommy say?
Members of the jury.
Oh, he's struggling with emotion as well.
Members of the jury. I cannot add anything to what this barrister has said. Please go out and consider your verdict.
Have they left the box?
Just a formality.
Do you think they'll be gone long? They're out a long time.
Oh, well, I suppose it would seem longer to you, so you know, the suspense.
I hope they don't disagree.
I don't see why they would. Look, they're coming back.
Members of the jury, have you considered your verdict?
We have.
And you find the prisoner guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty, my lord.
Hooray!
Hey, silence, silence. If there's any more mafficking around, I'll close the court.
So I'm surrounded, mobbed. Tuppy Morgan wrings my hand and says, it was lucky I left the seat. Oh, the judge sends me a letter of congratulation. The journalists start off to their little telephones. And what next? They'll make you a judge, but you're probably too busy. Oh, there's a queue of solicitors on the stairs. My old clerk writes on my next brief, 1,000 guineas to divorce a duchess. There's a question of new clothes, of laying down the porter. Oh, Mr. Fowl, the change in life you've brought me.
That'll be your greatest day.
Yes, my greatest day. Oh.
I suppose they must be needing this for the trial.
Yes.
Ooh!
My lord, members of the jury. I should have said, oh, my lord, members of the jury. I should have said, my lord, members of the jury. Is there one of you who doesn't crave for peace? Crave for peace. The silence of an undisturbed life. The dignity of a life without dependence, without jokes. Have you never been tempted should have said, members of the jury, you and I are men of the world. If your lordship would kindly not interrupt my speech to the jury, I'm obliged. Members of the jury, before I was so rudely interrupted. I should have said, look at the prisoner, members of the jury. Has he hurt you? Done you the slightest harm? Or is he not the mildest of men? All he tried to do was regulate his domestic affairs. Do any of you, members of the jury, feel the primitive urge to be revenged on this gentle bird fancier? I can see I'm affecting your emotions, members of the jury. But let us consider the weight of the evidence. Might have said that. I might have said, something.
Oh, I was hoping you'd find time to drop in, sir. Oh, I'm afraid you're upset.
No, not at all upset.
The result of the trial's upset you.
I'm a little dashed, a little out of sorts.
Well, it was disappointing for you.
A touch disappointing, but there'll be other cases. There may be other cases.
Oh, but you built up your hopes on this particular one.
Well, there it is.
It doesn't do to expect too much from a particular thing.
You're absolutely right, of course.
Year after year, I used to look forward to the fickle-feathered Friends Fancier's annual do. Invariably, it used to take the form of a dinner.
Your yearly treat.
Exactly. All I had in the enjoyment line, I built my hopes up on it. I'd say, June 13th, there'll be an evening to look forward to.
Something to live for.
Yeah, but when it came to it, it never really was up to it. You know, your collar was too tight, or the food was inadequate, or someone would have a nasty little scene with the fancier in the chair. So, on June 14th, I'd say to myself, God, thank God for a night at home.
It came and went and your life never changed.
No, quite frankly.
And this case has left me just as I was before.
Don't say that, sir.
Well, Tuppy Morgan's back in his old seat under the window. The judge never wrote to congratulate me. No one's phoned up to offer me a brief. I thought my old clerk looked coldly at me. And there was a titter in the luncheon room when I ordered my usual roll and tomato soup.
But
And you're not left in a very favourable position, are you?
Well, it's not so bad for me. I don't have the education.
Years of study I had to put in before I could master the Roman laws relating to the ownership of chariots.
Wasted, you think?
I feel so.
But without that rich background, how could you have hoped to have swayed the court the way you did?
Sway?
The court?
Did I do that?
Well, I thought you did.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, turned out masterful.
Mr. Fowle, you're trying to be kind. When I was a child, I played French cricket with an uncle who deliberately let the ball strike him on the legs. At 7 years old, that irked me. At my age, I can face the difficulties of accurate batting.
No, sir. I owe my position to you. You know, where I am.
I'm afraid near the end.
Just commencing.
I lost, Mr. Fowle. You may not be aware of it. It may not have been hammered home to you yet, but your case is lost.
But there are ways and ways of losing.
Oh, there's that, of course.
The artful way you dealt with it. When the policeman was was giving evidence. The way you drew that little handkerchief of yours slowly and deliberately like a magic trick.
And blue.
Sad, terrible trumpet.
Unnerved him, I thought.
Oh, he never recovered. There was no need to ask questions after that.
And then they called that doctor.
Oh, you were right not to bother with him.
Tactics, you see. We'd agreed not to trouble with science.
We had. And with Bateson.
Ah, I can't agree with you. I think I should have asked Bateson.
No, it wouldn't have mattered a farthing if you had. A glance would have told them that he was a demon.
He stood there so big and red, with his no tie and dirty collar. I rose up to ask him a question, and it dawned on me that there was no reason for us to converse. I turned away from him in disgust. I think the jury guessed the reason for my silence with friend Bateson.
I think they did.
And then there was the speech.
Oh, the best stroke of all.
Oh, I can't agree with you. You no longer carry me with you.
Spoken from the heart.
Oh, I'm sure of it, but not altogether accurate. You can't pretend, can you, Mr. Fowle, that the speech was a success?
You won the day.
I beg you not to be under any illusions.
What?
They found you guilty.
But that masterful speech.
No, I can't be hoodwinked. I stood up, and it was the moment I'd waited for. Ambition drove me to it. I was alone with everything I wanted. Everyone in court looked at me. 12 blank faces in the jury box, eager to have the grumpy looks wiped off them. The judge was silent, and the prosecutor courteously pretended to be asleep. All I had to do was open my mouth and pour out words. What stopped me? What? Fear. That's what's suggested. That's what the clerks tittered with the waitresses in the luncheon room. Old Wilf Morganhall was in a fun.
Oh, more shame on them.
But it wasn't so. Nor did my mind go blank. When I stood up, I knew precisely what I wanted to say.
Then why?
Not say it, you were going to ask?
It had struck me.
Oh, it must have found. It must have struck many people. You'll forgive a reminiscence?
Oh, glad of one.
You remember the lady I mentioned yesterday? I don't often talk of her.
The one who, during the war?
Exactly. But I lost her long before that, you see. For years and years, Fowle, this particular lady and I would meet at tea parties or tennis and so on. And one evening, I walked home with her. We stood on Vauxhall Bridge. It was a warm summer's evening. Silence fell, and it was the moment when I should have talked. Oh, the obvious moment. Then something overcame me. It wasn't shyness or fear, but a tremendous exhaustion. It was the moment I'd waited for, and I was tired out by the whole wait. When the moment came, all I could think of was sleep.
It is restful.
To go home, alone. To get undressed, brush my teeth, knock out my pipe, not to bother with failure or success.
So, yesterday,
I wanted to be alone, in my room, in the darkness, with a soft pillow round my ears. So I failed.
Don't say that, sir.
It's a nice day. Summer's coming. I think I shall retire from the bar.
Oh, cheer up, sir. Look, like you said, there'll be other days, other cases. Let's take this calmly. Now, let's be lucid, like you put it in your own statement.
But Tuppy Morgan's back in his old seat. I doubt the dock brief is going to come round again.
But there'll be something.
What can there be? Unless...
Yes, sir?
Well, there would be another case if
Yes?
I advise you to appeal.
Ah, now that, misfortunately...
Oh, it's a different atmosphere up there, Fowl, in the Court of Appeal. Oh, it's so far from the rough and tumble, question and answer, swear on the Bible, and lie your way out of it. It's pure law up there, of course. Oh, yes. I think I'm cut out for the Court of Appeal.
But you see...
A courtroom in a summer's afternoon. Piles of books, and when you put one down, the dust and powdered leather rises up and makes the ushers sneeze. The clock ticks, and 3 old judges in scarlet take snuff from trembling hands. You sit in the dock and not follow a legal word of it. Then I'll get up and give them all my law and get you off on a technicality.
Today...
My lords, if I may remind you of Prickle against the Haverfordwest Justices ex parte, reported in 96 in Moore's Ecclesiastical at page 1003. At the foot of the page, the guilty intention is a deep foundation stone in the wall of our jurisprudence. So, if it be that Prickle did run the bailiff through with his poignard, taking him for a stray dog or cat, there may well be raised the plea of autrefois mistake. Ah, Mr. Fowl, I have some of these fine cases by heart.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're above me now.
Oh yes, these cases always bore the prisoner until they're upheld or overruled, and you walk out dead or alive at the end of them. Thank God I kept my books. I shall open them up and say,
It's no good.
What's no good?
It's no good appealing.
No good.
It's no good at all.
Mr. Fowl, I've worked hard.
That's true.
For you.
That's true, sir.
And I mean to go on working for you.
It's a great comfort.
In the course of our close, and may I say it, happy collaboration on this little crime of yours, I've become almost fond of you.
Thank you, sir. But
At first, I was put off by your somewhat furtive and repulsive appearance. I saw in you a man marked with all the physical signs of confirmed criminality.
no oil painting.
Oh, let's agree on that at once.
The wife thought so too.
Enough of her, poor woman.
Oh, agreed.
At first, my solicitude for your well-being had a selfish element, and let's agree on that. You were, after all, my first case, and I didn't want to lose you.
A natural feeling, sir, but still...
I haven't wounded you.
Nothing fatal, sir.
Oh, I'm glad, because as we've worked together on this case, an affection has sprung up.
Mutual.
You seem to have a real desire to help, and if I may say so, an instinctive taste for the law.
Oh, well, one can't go through this sort of thing, Mr. Morganore, without picking up 1 or 2 legal interests.
Quite so. But I did notice, just at the beginning, 1 or 2 flaws in you as a client.
Flaws?
You may not want to admit it, and let's be honest about this, we don't want to dwell on the dreary side, but you may not be with us for very long.
Now, that's what I wanted to say.
Mr. Fowl, don't interrupt. Not until we've cleared all this out of the way. Now, didn't you, just at the beginning, put 1 or 2 little barriers before us?
Did I?
Well, I well remember, just at the beginning, before I got a bit of keenness in you, you seemed about to admit your guilt.
No.
Yeah, just a little obstinate, wasn't that?
I dare say.
And now, when I've worked to have the law at my fingertips, I hear you mutter, "No appeal."
No appeal.
Mr. Fowl!
Look, you yourself, sir, told me to spare you any unnecessary pain. This is going to be hard for me.
What?
As you said, sir, over the last few days, I've had the opportunity, no, the pleasure of observing a legal mind. And if you were to call any afternoon, I would be happy to return the favour and introduce you to my birds.
Not in this world, Fowl, unless we appeal.
You see, this morning, I went to see the governor.
You had a complaint?
Oh, well, I don't mean to boast, but he called for me.
You went in fear.
And trembling.
And trembling?
Yeah, but it turned out all right. I mean, it turned out this governor individual was very gentlemanly. Ex-army, I'd imagine. He had all the ornaments of a gentleman, you know, a wife and family and a tinted photo framed on the desk. Above the mantelpiece, a huge portrait of a prized pig. Healthy red face, strong smell of scented soap.
But grow to the point.
I will do. Well, Fowl, he says, see yourself down there, I'm just going to finish this letter. So I sat down and had a look out of his windows. God, big windows in the governor's office. Yeah, oh, you should see the view.
If this story has any point, be a good chap. Reach it.
Well, I'm getting there, sir, but where was I?
Admiring the view.
Oh, panoramic it was. Anyway, he finished his letter and then he lit up one of these flat type of Egyptian cigarettes.
It is not necessary, Fowl, to reproduce every word of this conversation. Give us the meat. Just the gist. You understand? Leave out the trimming.
Well, trimmings there wasn't. He put it very bluntly.
Put what?
Oh, well, as he said, sir, they do occasionally come through on that blower. And he said he was just as surprised about it as I was, but in his words, the drill is a reprieve. It's all over, I'm free.
Free?
Yeah, they said the trial was no good at all.
No good, but why?
Oh, no reason.
No reason, Mr. Fowl. Nothing happens in law without a reason.
You wouldn't care to know it.
Tell me, why this governor, who knows nothing of the law, should call our one and only trial together no good.
You yourself taught me not to scatter information around like bombs.
Tell me, Mr. Fowl, my legal career depends on it. If I'm not to have wasted my life with useless trials.
You want to hear?
Certainly.
Oh, well, he may have only been joking. There may have been a twinkle in his eye, most like.
What did he say?
That the barrister they got for me was no good. No good at all. That he never spoke a word in my defence, that my case never got through to the jury. He said the whole thing was ever so null and void and that I must be very careful in the future. Well, don't you see, sir? I mean, if I'd had a barrister who'd ask questions and make clever speeches, I'd be dead as mutton. Your artfulness saved me. The artful way you dealt with it, you know, the dumb tactics, they paid off. I'm alive.
Well, there is that.
Yeah, I'm free. And so are you.
But to go home to your birds, I suppose.
Yes, Mr. Morgan?
Well, it's unlikely you'll marry again.
Oh, unlikely.
But you have the clear look of a criminal. It's not impossible that you might commit one or two rather more trivial offences.
Oh, well, a man can't go through life, Mr. Morgan, without picking up, one or two trivial offences, almost daily.
Then we may meet again. You may have need of my services.
Constantly.
The future may not be so black.
Sun is shining.
Can we go?
Oh, well, I think the door's been open for some time.
Oh,
Oh, no, after you, Mr. Morgan, please.
no, no.
No, a man of your education should go first.
You lead, Mr. Fowl, and as your legal representative, I shall follow at a discreet distance to iron out such little angles as you may hope to leave in your wake. After you.